Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Stephen Spatz from the BookBaby live broadcast. This is our fourth one. I don't know if we're going to be numbering them like WrestleMania does, but I'm proud that we're getting these out to folks who are really interested in the kinds of things that we'll be bringing to you. Today, it's going to be about book launches, and that's an important part of the evolution and journey of your book. And I've got some really good information that are kind of the do's and don'ts of your big event. So I'm eager to get going on this. And if we could get our moderator to put my display up. Okay. All right, here we go. So this is our live chats on Facebook and YouTube that we're doing. A little bit about me. I am a native Oregonian, and the slogan when I was growing up there is, Oregon is the state where people don't tan, they rust. Needed a rim shot, probably sound effect on that. So I'm also a proud alumni of the University of Oregon. And aside from a fantastic football team, our main claim to fame is that's where the movie Animal House was filmed. If you want to send me questions about that later, I'll tell you the whole inside story of why 30 other campuses decided not to host it. But Oregon said, sure, come on down. And then finally, the thing that I really like to tell people about is I'm a self-published author. I am like you. I have gone through the process, the heartaches, the triumphs, the travails, the questions, but ultimately have realized success. And obviously being president of a company that helps people self-publish, I'm an advocate for that kind of way to get into the marketplace. So how do we usually do this? Well, it's 30 minutes. Could be more, could be less. I'll spend about 15 minutes on my topics. Most of them are going to be always about self-publishing and book marketing, all right? And then we're going to leave time at the end for your questions. So be sure and put them into the comment section. Tell me where you're from, too. That's kind of fun. If it's Fred from Forest Grove, Oregon, I'd love to add those sorts of details, all right? By the way, the covers that we feature on this page, they're all done by the BookBaby cover design staff, and they just produce some amazing stuff week after week, all right? So at the conclusion of this broadcast, one lucky attendee is chosen at random to get a 15-minute publishing consultation. Now, I have to say that's a lie because none of them ever go 15 minutes. I just spent a lovely 45-minute conversation with a children's book author about her daughter and her collaboration on stories about horses, which is going to be fascinating. So anyway, I'm thrilled to do these. They were a lot of fun. So how do you get a chance to do that? You've got to share the video and tag a friend in the comments to be automatically entered to win the free 15-minute consultation with me. This is also a good time to tell you, you can join our Authors of BookBaby Facebook group, and you can kind of get in on the conversation. Now, there are no lovely parting gifts for joining that group, but I think it's a good thing to do if you want to be in the know more about what we do here and get some inside information. So that'll be fun. All right. So let's get to it. Launching that book, it's important. It really is. It's not end all or be all, but it really is kind of an exclamation point on the evolution of your book. And I've got some, I've heard a zillion do's and don'ts, and here's what you should do. I even shared one in my recent Saturday weekend email that says, hey, you should make your book launch like the new gender reveals where they have an explosion going off. No, don't do that. But I do have some tips about how to make it, a really successful event. There's 1,000 things you could do. I've got a few things just for you to focus in on, and then I've got some articles on the BookBaby blog which will each amplify that because I can't go into detail on everything. So let's start here. All right, it is a celebration, and you should treat yourself, as a popular TV show used to say. Make it something that you really enjoy. Print beautiful invitations. Have a spread. Have it on a gorgeous venue. Make a cake with the cover of your book on it. This is the time for you to kind of let your hair down and say, oh, job well done. But while it's a celebration, it's also an opportunity for you to work your book. So celebrate, enjoy the moment, hug and kiss people, but realize you got some work to do. And that's an important part of how your book is going to be received by your potential audience, okay? So let's start with some of the do's. Oh, I can't stress this one early enough. Do plan early, okay? 6 months at minimum is not too much to ask. You're probably still in even the editing process, perhaps, or just coming up into your decision about how you're going to publish. And that's when you need to start planning for it. All right, but put it in pencil. because it can and it will change. I can't think of any plan that has withstood the first possibilities of publishing complexities to actually stand. So be flexible, but you must have a calendar. The nice thing to talk about now is because we're coming out of this COVID-19 situation, you get to think about a venue. Up to now, there have been virtual book launches, which have been great, but let's face it, there's nothing like getting together in a bookstore or in a union hall or a catering location, to really celebrate with your friends and family who can pat you on the back and say, well done, Mr. or Mrs. Author. All right. One thing I do want to stress, though, as you're putting this calendar together, you're going to need a lot of people. All right. It does take a village to get a book launch done. So you need to respect your helpers' time. Okay. Give them date ranges to do things. Try not to micromanage. Okay. But know that, you're going to have some folks who, they've got other time commitments too. Your book launch isn't probably as important to them as it is to you. But hitting your details, look at it early and often. Take over a wall of your living room and have a giant sheet of paper with all of your details listed out. I've known people who have done that. So again, can't stress more. Plan your things early, okay? My second do is focus in on media. And I want to think about the inclusiveness of media, all right? Some people think about media, used to think about radio and TV, and then, or newspapers, or now it's the internet, now it's bloggers. I think of it in, do my neighbors down the street know that I'm going to have a book launch? Word of mouth is powerful media as well. So just consider how you're going to get the word out. And that's just a major focus of what you can, of what you need to think about to ensure that you get enough attention to your book. All right. So here are some of the things that I've told people about. There's 1,000 different directions they can go. Here's the 4 things that they should really focus in on. Okay. Start local. All right. College radio station, yes, may only get 15 listeners in the local book show, but you know what? Those are probably 15 people who are going to turn into your first readers. So don't worry about the size of the reach, but look for folks who can relate to you as a local author. There's a lot of interest in that. Local newspapers love to feature that. Taking flyers to local bookstores that are opening up again. Yay. That's the way to really start. And then you can expand outward. And we'll talk about some of the internet opportunities too. The more you prepare, the more coverage you're going to get. So what does that mean? Well, have a media kit. And there's lots of articles on our BookBaby blog or also just around the internet talking about, what should be in a media kit. Okay. And it's the standard things. It's author bios. No, they don't have to read the book, but you can give them an elevator pitch of a page about what the book is about to kind of give them a flavor. All right. Next thing I'd stress is this. Throat's a little dry today. Practice. All right. If you have audio and video interview opportunities, do some mock interviews with your friends. Prep them with some questions. Put up a little camera and do a Zoom interview with your next door neighbor. So that you know what the actual presentation looks like. It's really important. The more professional you are, the more you're going to be asked back to the bloggers or to the TV stations. The more, if you're that professional for your next book and your next book after that, they'll remember you. They'll go back and look at the tape and say, yeah, that was worthwhile putting on our morning show. So it's really important. And then finally, if you can, this is advanced stuff. If you're able to really get a lot of media opportunities, target it. Okay, have the hits as they say in the marketing world. Have these appearances, have these interviews, have these radio spots, these radio shows appear like in the 3 or 5 days before your absolute launch date. Now that may be a tough task for most folks, but it's a noble goal and a target you should look for. Okay. Now here's a community that you need to really cozy up to: book bloggers. All right, and there are lots of them out there. The thing is, you don't need to be afraid to approach them because they need you just as much as you need them, all right? To keep their own audience, they need to make sure that they're going through reams and reams of books and getting involved in some of them and really getting behind them and spending time on their site, either through an interview, through a write-up, through some kind of Q&A type of thing. So, these people are really important. They're usually either genre or topic based. So you got to do your research on who you want to approach. Okay, but these folks can be your best friends. This, you must have the strong online media kit, or they're just gonna next. All right, but while you have to have this kit of these digital properties, this is a human to human type of contact. And when I talk about human touch, it's going to the book blog, and you don't say the first thing is, "Hey, I'm Stephen Spatz, and I'm writing a book about ducks. Please feature me on your blog." How about you 6 weeks in advance, you go to this blog and say, "Wow, those are some great books about ducks. Can you tell me more about them?" Get to know the blogger, establish a relationship, and then at week 6, you know what? I haven't not mentioned this before. I'm writing a book. You might be interested in it too. So establish that human connection in this very digital medium, and it really will pay off for you and your launch. Okay. Next thing is this. I advocate that you build a book launch team. Now, these are not the people serving punch of cookies or in that picture latkes. All right. This is a whole different situation. These are people to help you get those most coveted of things on Amazon, the shiny little 5 stars. All right. So this is not necessarily a team about anything else but book reviews. Book reviews are still the most important part, I think, of especially brand new authors getting their foot in the water. The more reviews you have, the more people are going to notice. And not only that, as we'll get to a little bit later on, Amazon will notice it too. All right. Now, the goal obviously is positive reviews, but you've got to do it right. You can't just have your mom doing it and your sister and your brother. Amazon is really good at noticing fake reviews, fake or forced. No, these need to be carefully thought out, and they punish authors pretty hard if they notice these sorts of fake reviews popping up, and they'll actually take reviews down and penalize you in their algorithm. So never try to game the system. We at BookBaby have always said, don't try to game the system. Understand it, use it, do it the right way. And this, I can't stress this more. That is vital to do it the right way about book reviews. So here's the math I usually recommend to people. Now, human nature being what it is. Your goal, I think for most folks, should be between 15 to 25 book reviews going up pretty quickly online, okay? So what's it going to take? Well, yes, you think that everyone in your circle is going to be happy to do the book review, but the fact is 1 in 3 are probably going to do it. So look, recruit 45 to 75 people. I told you that's why you need to start 6 months in advance. Give them advanced reading copies of your book. Ask them to put reviews up on Amazon during your pre-sale period, and that's going to be a huge plus for you. But this is an important separate little group, separate little project that you're going to be managing on the side. It's a real difference maker, though. All right. The fourth thing is this, and I'm going to quote our good friend of BookBaby. Her name is Jane Friedman. She's an expert in everything about self-publishing, and we've had her as a speaker at one of our conferences. This is the best way I've ever heard to really express this. An author platform, what you're doing is you're trying to build a readership that's going to be with you, not just for the one book, but for every book that you write. I'm even taking it a step further. A really good author platform to me is a place where you establish yourself in everything that you write. All right. So it's really an important HQ for you, your online persona, that everything is consistent and flows. And we have tons of articles on our blog that can help you through this. Okay. And the first one starts with this. You've got to have a top-notch website, and they're not that hard to do. Here's 2 examples of them. All right. Sandra Brown. All right. New York Times bestselling author. She does very well. But look how simple the website is, right? She's got all of her social media icons right there. That's how you connect with her. She's got all the things in the little top navigation there at the right. That's all you need to do. And that was really not difficult to design. But you really know about her. You know what she looks like. There's some personality there. The clouds, even the background. No, it's really nicely done. Here's another one. Meg Medina. Great website. Lists some of her accomplishments right there. Again, you see the face. You notice that they don't have books in either one of them. And that would be fine too. If you want to make it about the book, that's fine. A lot of authors they're the brand, right? And this person has to be an author and a speaker. So it's important for her to do that. But again, this is not really rocket science as far as design goes. You've got the navigation there at the top that lists everything you need. And then you've got some key information. And of course, those all important social icons so that you can follow them there. All right. So that's the most important thing. But here's some other musts. Building an email list. It's going to be your greatest asset. In an upcoming broadcast, we're going to dive deep into that. There's too much to cover today, and that'll be a pretty technical one. So bring your sheet of paper and follow on carefully, because the email list can be, again, a godsend for you. It'll be a gold mine, all right? You need to understand and harness the power of social media. Again, we have tons of articles on our blog. I'm not going to burden us here about that. You don't have to be a master of social media. Just understand it, decide which one works for you best. And then finally, there's something that even our authors of BookBaby are not really doing enough with, and that's the Amazon Author Central pages. There are great features on that to go in and really kind of collect more of of who you are about an author on the Amazon platform. I strongly urge you to look into it, or I'll be happy to answer questions about that later on. Okay. And then finally this, all right. And this is going to be, we're talking 6 months of this, do talk about your book. And it's going to sound, oh my God, I've got to mention my book again, day after day. You really do. This is posting, this is discussing it. Your book is your baby, right? Oh, BookBaby. I work for BookBaby. No, I don't mean that. But really, it is your baby. You need to focus in on that, even to the point of saying, oh my God, I'm tired of talking about this book. I can't wait to get it wrong. But you do have to do it in good taste. And I call it the cocktail party rule. You wouldn't walk into your friend's cocktail party and say, hi, my name is Stephen Spatz. I'm writing a book about ducks. Please buy it. No, you need to insert yourself into the conversation carefully, subtly, and when you have the opportunity to share, oh, you know what? I'm a writer, and I'm writing a book about ducks, and you might be interested in it. Here's a link to my site, and, go for it. Unleashing your email list. I'll mention it again because I can't be more passionate about how important it is to capture email names. I think we're going to do this broadcast in 2 months from now about that. And then, get creative about how you talk about that. I'm going to leave that open-ended. Writers are naturally creative folks, so I'm sure you can come up with some things. All right. Now, most people know that I like to stay positive, but there are some things you do definitely need to avoid to not have the book launch outcome that you're looking for, and that's this: a book launch is one day in the life of your book, and I'll take it back to the ship. All right. You're christening the ship. You hit the champagne on it. You have the streamers. And it's not like the boat's not going to go anywhere else. No. It's time for a long cruise. It's time for years and years of exposure. The launch is just one day. So it's not the end all and be all. If it doesn't come off perfectly, don't despair, okay? But you also need to have long-term marketing plans to really kind of take advantage of any of the momentum that you've gained. So that 6-month planning of the launch, somewhere in the middle of that, you need to say, okay, from launch day +1 to 90 to 180, here's some of the things I think I need to do. And we always recommend that people look at Facebook, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, Amazon ads are another place. BookBub is another opportunity. Again, tons of information on our blog to kind of fill out that section. But really, don't just stop with a launch. Keep it going. Keep the momentum going. All right. The second thing is this, don't set unrealistic launch goals. Okay. This does not mean that you're going to be selling 1,000 books on the day of your launch. You need to think about your place in the author community. Is this your first book? Is this your 20th book? Your goals for a launch are going to be drastically different, obviously, because of the contacts you've made, because of the sales history you have. But what are you looking to do? Are you looking to do pre-orders? Are you looking to introduce or position your author brand? Are you celebrating your accomplishment of publishing a book? Even that's fine too. But think that, don't wake up the next morning and say, oh, crap, I should have sold X amount. I should have had 40 or other people at my launch. No, it's not about that. Okay. Just be realistic. Okay. And third thing is this. Please don't forget that there's a very important guest that is going to be at your book launch. Maybe not in person. I don't believe that Jeff Bezos will be showing up to cut the cake for your book. But nevertheless, those folks at Amazon are an incredible part of your launch. And let me show what I mean by this, okay? Look, 21st century book selling, It is online. I love me my independent bookstore, and I'm thrilled they're opening up again with less restriction in COVID. And they're going to be an important part of how, I'm going to find books and things like that. But the reality is, especially for brand new authors, 95% of your sales are going to come through online sources. They're going to be libraries online. If you do ebooks, then obviously it's going to be Amazon as well. All right. The other place these transactions will take place on your own website, or we offer bookshop pages, which are e-commerce pages free for our authors. Okay. So a lot of these tactics that I talked about to get Amazon's attention are covered on the BookBaby blog. I have a whole section about pre-sale, vital to this, because your pre-sale is taking place during that 6 months, perhaps, or most of that 6 months of your book launch planning. Let's review just a key number of them, okay? You've got to set expectations for Amazon. You set your pre-sale period at least 90 days out, if not more, and you need to show activity in the first 30 to 60 days. Now, what does activity mean? It does not mean you've got to have 100 people rush out and buy your book the first time it's available. No, sales are great. But what they're looking for, what we have learned, the algorithms are seeing, oh, look, there's activity going to that page. That's interesting. There are a lot of folks from different IP addresses, by the way. You can't go there every 4 hours. Amazon knows you as one unique. So can't game them, never game them. All right. But traffic to your sales page is really the key for that. Okay. So to recap, your launch priorities, look, plan early, get out there. 6 months out is best. You can cram it together in 3 months, but why? Don't rush it, okay? Second thing, get the word out through media, your own blog, every outlet available, every possible way to have that megaphone. Flyers now in bookstores, flyers at grocery stores, however you can get your word out, get creative, as I mentioned below. And then finally, get your author platforms in shape. This takes, not a lot of work, frankly, a little research, using online platforms like Wix and Foursquare and things like that for a very economical price. You can design your own website. Canva is a great resource, by the way, to do some interesting designs. I'm working on my own website using Canva, as a matter of fact, this week. And then finally, keep your eyes on the prize. No, they're not going to show up to enjoy, toast you with champagne, but Amazon is watching your launch. Not the actual event, but all the activities leading up to it, okay? So, as I mentioned before, a lot of this information, a lot of this material is already on the BookBaby blog, the do's of planning a book launch. I'm going to have the contra version, the don'ts, coming out here in a week or so. I suggest you go out there, take a look at it, and learn all the details, which I have not been able to cover, all right? So finally, I'd like to end these broadcasts with some information about our company. It's not a commercial, but it's fun to share some good impressions from some folks. So we are on Trustpilot. You're able to go out and look at our reviews. And Sergio says, excellent customer service and quality of service, great publishing experience. The printed books look superb. My thanks to everyone for their professionalism. I will definitely recommend BookBaby to other writers. Sergio, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Oh, and finally, one more thing. And my friend Sam will be happy about that. Sam Saddam is the person, the brain behind our BookBaby Spotlight podcast. It's available on Spotify. These things have been fantastic. You hear some incredible stories about some of our authors and the things that they are doing. And Sam does a great job in drawing them out and getting their story down. So I suggest you go to Spotify, see if you can find the BookBaby Spotlight and enjoy those. All right. So finally, this is the crazy slide that signals to my helpers for the show about questions. How do sharks play harmonicas? And of course, the answer is they don't play harmonicas underwater. So that's that. So now we're going to get to some questions. All right, we have a number of them queued up. So let me start. So Carmen and Marshall asked, by the way, if you want to be considered for our giveaway of the consultation, share the video, take a friend in the comments to be automatically entered to win the free consultation. So please remember to do that. So Carmen and Marshall asked, what if I'd self-publish BookBaby, but we use my own cover design, but see the value of having a design from BookBaby? Can this be done? Absolutely. There's an interesting phenomena that seems to happen around every Christmas or every key buying period of self-published authors who've gone through us or gone direct or things like that. and they realized that they didn't realize the sales success that they were hoping for. So what do? They want to get a new cover. And new covers are very easy to attach to books. You don't have to change ISBN numbers. You got to make sure it's picked up from one to another. So yes, this is very easily achieved. And we have a number of authors who do this and try to upgrade. And we've seen some great results too. We've seen some homemade covers that people think are just great. And they say, no, you know what? Not exactly what I was looking for. So we're able to jump in there, provide a very professional looking cover. So I'd recommend that if you see the need for it. Okay, Keith Baldwin asked, when do you time the launch? How soon before or after the book is printed by BookBaby? All right, I'm going to leave the second half alone because it's not exactly about the printing of BookBaby that keys. It is, I'm assuming you mean distribution. I'm assuming you mean when is the book going to be available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, if you're going both print and ebook, all right? And ebook is pretty instantaneous, all right? If you're only doing an ebook files, don't take long to get through there. The algorithms are different. I'm going to assume, again, we're doing printed books because that's what most of our authors do, and that's why the timing is kind of laid out. This is where you should get some advice from your BookBaby publishing specialist. Ask them their opinion. Now, by the time the files are ready to go to press, you've edited them, hopefully. You've proofed them. You're making sure your cover is perfect. You're really happy with your final product. That's the first day. It's not when BookBaby prints them. All right, it's the first day we're able to say, are you ready to go into distribution? Boom, that's day one. So you need to set your launch and your pre-sale period like 90 days starting from that moment, at least 90 days to give yourself time. And you can do longer. And there's nothing wrong with going longer. Never rush. Some of our other services for our parent company, we've always had rush services. BookBaby never has a rush service because there's no good outcome to a book that is rushed. So be patient. I know a lot of people are trying to get holiday releases and things like that, and I talk about that a lot. But be patient. Let time go by. Let your book just evolve naturally. Okay. Next, when you recruit readers, you give them your book for free? Absolutely. So advanced reading copies. There are several services that offer that. There's one that you have to pay a lot of money for. I think the easiest thing to do, frankly, is to give them an ebook file because those will be available quickly. You can print books, individual book. You can print 25, 50, 100 books on your own and hand them out to them. But that's typically how things go. And when reviewers want to review your book, when say a blogger wants to do something about your book, they're going to want an advanced reading copy. Most of them will take ebooks. Some of them will want printed books. So it's always good to have some on hand to whatever is the preferred media used by the blogger or by the reader. Okay. Rick asks, what is different about launching an audiobook on Amazon Audible from launching a book? And do you have suggestions of who to go with? So I want to be clear. I love audiobooks. I have a few that I'm listening to right now. But audiobooks is not an area that BookBaby is really getting into at this point. We think that perfecting printed books and ebooks are the great way to start for self-published author. That doesn't mean that someday we won't be getting involved with audiobooks. There are some really good providers of that, though. So I'm going to recommend one, and they're going to love me for it. And hopefully I'll get an affiliate check for this, but I won't. Findaway Voices. They're a great organization. They're in Cleveland, Ohio. Fascinating company. You should learn even their backstory. It's really interesting. They're a nice alternative to going with Audible. They do distribute to Amazon, to Audible, but they have all the setup in a real quality way. So I highly recommend Findaway Voices in Cleveland, Ohio. And then finally, let's see. Why do you have to show activity on Amazon in the first 30 to 60 days? Okay, again, it's the robots, all right? I had a line in my blog post that was edited out, which said, don't forget to invite these important people to your party, the Amazon robots. And unfortunately, that got cut, stupid editor. But really, it's algorithms. They're looking for activities to the page, okay? And again, it can't be from one IP address or 20. It's got to be from readers. And there are creative things you can do. Say you have your own blog. Say you have a good following on Facebook or Twitter. You can say, go to my Facebook page, or I'm sorry, go to my Amazon page and tell me what letter is in the second paragraph of my book description, and send me a letter, send me an email with the letter, and I'm going to give you a free chapter of my next book. All right. So what does that do? That gets 100 people or 500 people or 1,000 people, depending on your reach. They go to that page and they say, oh, it's a B. Boom. They go back and email the original author. There's all kinds of now, again, I'm not gaming the system. They went to the Amazon page to show interest in your book. So this wasn't cheating or gaming. This was just one of the hundreds of creative ways you can get people to go in, take a look at your page, make it fun, gamify it, as they called it a few years ago. So great opportunities there. All right, and then one more. Let's see. Is there a good source to find book bloggers? Yes, there are. BookBaby blog has some sources there. That's something that, I might be putting in a very upcoming or a soon to be upcoming weekend or email, because that really is important. But you can do web searches and find lists of book bloggers. A lot of them are kind of out of date, but that's a great resource that I think we need to provide for our authors. So we'll be spending some time on that. So keep an eye out here. Finally, I'm gonna ask one more thing though. So we did this on a Tuesday. Up to this point, we've been doing this discussion on Fridays. We thought like the last X day of the month would be an easy time to remember. If you like Tuesday, let me know. If you like Friday, let me know. Give me some suggestions about when you'd like to see this conversation happen on a monthly basis, and we'll consider your very unscientific but incredibly important feedback on that. Okay. Finally, is there a good time of year to launch? Let me put this in reverse. Any time is a great time of the year to launch your book, except for one, and that's the holidays, okay? I don't know about you, but in December, I'm really not in the mood to go looking for brand new books. I need to find a present for my pet cat, or my son or my daughter. So, don't pick a period when there's automatically a lot of other things going on. I mean, now's a great time, June, August, October. Don't do November around Thanksgiving. Don't do Christmas. I wouldn't even do it right around the first of the year. Just think about what other people's attention spans are like, and how much you can marshal their attention. And I think you'll have a better result for your book. All right, I think that's going to do it. I want to thank you so much for your great questions this month, and we'll do this again in about a month. So thank you so much.